Mom, I can't take it anymore. They've taken all my salary. I'm surviving on one meal a day for $3. I'm starving to death. One day, my son David called me, crying, and I was shocked. A life like this, almost like fasting, was unimaginable compared to when he was still single. What do you mean? Is Linda sick or something, and can't cook? Why don't you just come home for now? Linda is David's wife and the daughter of the CEO at David's company. Of course, her family is well off, and I'd never heard they were struggling financially. So why are they in such a situation? Even David didn't know the cause, and it's been like this for the past month or two. I told him to leave that house and come back home for a while, but David stubbornly refused. But I still love Linda, and our daughter, Emily. I decided to prepare a care package for David and secretly send him some money. A month later, David called to say he was coming home with Emily. Sensing something serious, I waited at home that evening, clutching my phone, when suddenly the doorbell rang. I jumped up from the living room chair and rushed to open the front door. David. Emily. I was sure he would be standing there, but it was Emily, standing there with a puzzled look on her face. She was wearing the glow-in-the-dark pajamas I had bought her as a birthday gift. When I hugged her, she felt thin, her body frail and skinny. David is nowhere in sight. I had been focused on Emily, but then I sensed something behind her and looked up. There stood Linda, with a creepy smile on her face. My name is Susan Miller, a 58-year-old housewife. I've loved food since I was a student, and aside from 3 meals a day, I often snacked on instant noodles and donuts. It continued into adulthood, and eating became my way of relieving stress, so I gradually became more and more plump. While the women around me, who were all dating, were slender and beautiful, I often felt down, thinking I looked like a balloon. At a dating event, it was obvious that the men are avoiding me. However, one man among them approached me. Susan, would you like to go out with me? Huh? Me? The man, who has the opposite body mass as me, is John Miller, and he would later become my husband. John and I went out 3 times, and on our 3rd date, we agreed to start dating exclusively with marriage in mind. Susan, you're so cute. You're the cutest when you're eating. John would say that every time we went out on a date, and he doesn't mind that I ate more than he did. I worked in the sales department of a department store, so it was often hard to find time to meet with John. But John never complained and always adjusted his schedule to fit mine. I feel bad for always imposing on you. When I grumbled that, John shook his head. It's okay. My company has flexible hours, so I can adjust my schedule a bit. Don't worry about it. He worked for an IT company, which was somewhat rare at the time. He worked on creating online ads and developing software for his company. I didn't understand much of it, but the way he delved into the details and spoke passionately was really attractive. After John and I got married, I quit my job to become a full-time housewife, and we had a child. I sometimes thought we could have spent more time together as a couple, but the baby boy we had was absolutely adorable. Since a child's name is the first gift from the parents, John and I discussed it a lot. How about David? It means a beloved. It's a good name, isn't it? That's a good name. Let's go with David. We wanted him to be happy and to bring happiness to others. With that wish in mind, we named our son, who grew up healthy and, like me, developed a love for eating, becoming a bit plump himself. After graduating from college, David got a job at an IT company, just like his father, and later transferred to the company where John worked. In that way, they were very similar, and at home, their conversations were often about work, leaving me feeling a bit out of the loop. Dad, about this project in the department I was assigned to recently. That company is a bit picky. You might want to explain things to them as carefully as possible. Being a longtime housewife, I was inspired by the hardworking atmosphere of John and David, and I started looking at job listings, thinking I might start a part-time job. However, those conversations between them came to a sudden halt about 5 years ago. This happened after David changed jobs and married a woman named Linda Turner. It turns out, Linda is the daughter of the CEO where David and John worked, so David became the adopted son-in-law and left home. I can still clearly remember when they greeted us with happy smiles and announced their engagement. They later had a daughter, Emily, and now they've built a home where the three of them live together. They live a bit far from our home, so they can't visit often, and I felt a little lonely because of that. However, I was always so happy when Emily would call me on video chat during holidays. Sometimes, I would also call David. Hi, David? Emily's birthday is next month, right? I want to get her something. Is there anything she might want? Thanks, Mom. But you don't have to go to any trouble. But we haven't seen each other in a while, and she's already 3. How about some clothes? Clothes, huh? I'm not really sure, but I think she mentioned wanting pajamas from that cartoon A Pretty Club or something. His answer was vague, but I quickly jotted it down on a notepad. When I worked at the department store, customers often asked about pajamas with cartoon characters for little girls, and I frequently guided them to the section. Memories of those days flashed through my mind, and it felt strange to now be the customer going to buy them myself. Got it. Pretty Club pajamas. After the call, I headed out excited, bought the pajamas, and even had them wrapped for Emily's birthday. However, I felt it would be too forward to just show up at their house, so I decided to discreetly send it as a package. I hope Emily likes it. With that thought, I added a message card and felt a bit lighter as I headed to the post office. That evening, during dinner after John got home, I told him I had sent a birthday present to Emily. These days, kids' pajamas glow in the dark. I hope she likes it. Yeah. I'm sure she'll love it. Honestly. You should at least show some concern for David and his family. He became an adopted son-in-law and left, didn't he? Don't worry so much, he's doing just fine. John responded half-heartedly while poking at his steak and cutting it into bite-sized portions. There's still one thing that bothers me. It's that John refuses to have anything to do with Linda and her family. When I ask him why, he just says, they're way too wealthy. It makes me uncomfortable. It's understandable to feel intimidated by the CEO of his company, but it's strange to avoid them entirely. He didn't even show up for the wedding reception. As far as I know, John and Linda have never met face to face. Even when our granddaughter Emily was born, he just glanced at the photo, looking uninterested, and just said, huh. I was somewhat annoyed by John's consistently indifferent attitude. Still, I occasionally call David to check on how things are going. That day, a heavy evening shower poured, leaving the air damp and a cool breeze blowing. As I sensed the arrival of autumn in the clearing sky, I called David. David, how are things over there? It's getting chilly in the mornings and evenings, are you staying healthy? I'm fine, Mom. You're worrying too much. It's not just you, I'm also thinking about Linda and Emily. Oh, how did the pajamas turn out? Oh, she's wearing them right now. The glow-in-the-dark pajamas are already her favorite. Hearing that, I felt relieved. I'm glad I chose well. Make sure to tell them they're always welcome to stay over here sometime. Yeah. Got it. Okay, I'm going to hang up now. Yeah. Oh, wait a second. David, are you really doing okay? Huh? Yeah. I'm A-okay. Okay, if you say so. It's nothing, then. Good night. David also said good night and hung up, but I was still a little worried. Over the phone, David's voice seemed less lively than usual. It might have been just my imagination, but having spent nearly half his life by his side, my mother's intuition told me that something was wrong, something is not right with David. I casually mentioned it to John, but as usual, he just brushed it off. You think he's struggling just from talking to him on the phone? You're worrying too much. You're right, but I really hope it's just my imagination. However, it seems my intuition was right, as I received a call from David not long after. It was unusual for him to call during the day, so I answered the phone, and I could hear David sniffing. David? Is that you? What's wrong, are you okay? Could he have been in an accident and gotten hurt, or did something happen to Linda or Emily? My mind raced with different thoughts, and I was overwhelmed with worry, but David started crying as he spoke. Mom, I can't take it anymore. They take all my salary, and I'm living on one meal a day for $3. I'm starving to death. The words, one meal a day, shook me deeply. A life like that, almost like fasting, was unimaginable compared to when he was still single and living with us. What do you mean? Is Linda sick or something and can't cook? Why don't you just come home for now? In a faint voice, David said. No, it's not that. Linda is fine. Emily too. But lately, I'm the only one who gets just salad, bread, and water. Even if Linda and David had a fight, that seems way too extreme. From what I gathered, he doesn't know the cause, and it's been like this for about a month or two. I urged him to leave the house and come back home for a while, but David stubbornly refused. But I still love Linda, and Emily too. All right, then I'll send you some instant noodles and some pastry. So, I decided to prepare a care package for David and secretly sent him some supplies. Still, I couldn't help but think how strange this situation is. Linda's family is not just well off, they are literally wealthy. Even their wedding was a grand affair in Hawaii, with around 100 guests. So why would they take all of David's salary and make him live on one meal a day for $3, as if he's in some kind of a severe situation? They're probably just a greedy, clingy family. John said that as if he understood and snorted. I decided to brush it off as envy towards the rich and continued washing the dishes after dinner. I still couldn't understand why he was so eager to avoid any mention of the Turner family. I tried to make a face in frustration, but John didn't seem to care. Come to think of it, John had been complaining lately about how he suddenly got busy because they were short-staffed on a project. I figured he must be tired, so I took 2 cups of ice cream out of the freezer and handed one to him along with a spoon. Let's eat these together. These are the last 2. Oh, nice. What flavor is this? John's eyes lit up as soon as he saw the ice cream cup. We discovered we both liked ice cream back when we first started living together. I remembered how we used to eat ice cream back then, and that night, as we ate our ice cream, we talked about my part-time job, John's work, and things happening in the neighborhood. After that, I continued to send David care packages regularly. I was waiting for the day when David would say, "You don't need to send anything anymore," but there was no sign that things were improving. A month already passed since David's last call, and the days had become much more pleasant. The small potted flower-bearing plants in the garden had turned a beautiful color and were at their peak. One evening, after spending the day wondering if David was okay, I got a phone call. Hello, David? How are you? Lately. I hurriedly started talking, but David, sounding out of breath, answered as if he was running. Mom? Sounds of running. Linda has started restricting Emily's meals too. This is ridiculous. Sound of running. I've had enough, sound of running. I'm taking Emily and going back home. I'm already on my way. What? You're on your way now? Where are you? I'll come pick you up. I'm fine. I'll be there soon. That's as much as I heard before the call abruptly ended. I could hear cars constantly passing by on the other end, so I was sure he was somewhere along a major road. But I knew it wouldn't be wise to search aimlessly, so I decided to call John and inform him of the situation. However, no matter how many times I called, I couldn't get through to him. That's strange. He should have finished work by now. Maybe he's on the train and his phone is on silent. I left a message and had no choice but to wait, praying that David and Emily would arrive safely. About an hour had passed since David's call. I haven't heard back from John, also, David and Emily haven't arrived yet. Even with the lights on, I couldn't shake off the overwhelming anxiety. As I sat waiting, clutching my smartphone, the doorbell suddenly rang. I jumped up from the living room chair and rushed to open the front door. David. Emily. I was sure he would be standing there, but it was Emily, standing there with a puzzled look on her face. She was wearing the glow-in-the-dark pajamas I had bought her as a birthday gift. Emily, are you alone? Where's Daddy? Emily nervously fidgeted with her hands. She hasn't been to our house that often, so I thought she was just nervous. I crouched down and hugged her. I'm sorry, sweetie. It must have been tough for you. That's when I realized for the first time how thin Emily had become. With the sun down, visibility was poor, and her long-sleeved pajamas had made her frail body look fuller than it was. Emily wrapped her thin arms tightly around my neck and buried her face in my shoulder. It's okay, it's okay. Where's Daddy? Did he come with you? We were coming together, Daddy and me, but then at the pedestrian, he fell, and the ambulance came, so I came with Mommy. She said she was secretly following us, so she called the ambulance. Emily explained earnestly, struggling with her words. I was impressed by how much she could talk now, but the word Mommy snapped me back to reality. Mommy meant Linda, which meant she is here too. He must have fallen at the time when the call ended so abruptly. Maybe he collapsed because he hasn't been eating much. I had been focused on Emily, but then I sensed something behind her and looked up. There stood Linda, with a creepy smile on her face. She, too, seemed to have come just as she was, dressed in casual top and bottoms, and sneakers, a very relaxed outfit. But her expression was one of searching, looking around nervously and even peering inside the open front door as if she were looking for something. She then turned her gaze to me and said dreamily, "Is John around? I really want to see him." What? Why do you want to see John? I was completely confused. Her husband is supposed to be David, and wasn't David being taken away in an ambulance just a few moments ago? Why would she come here instead of accompanying him to the hospital? As I stood there confused, John walked in through the gate, looking shocked. What? Linda, why are you here? Oh, John. You're just in time. Welcome home. Stay away from me. As Linda approached him with a sweet, coaxing voice, John frantically backed away. John seemed to know Linda. I became even more confused, with question marks filling my mind. This is supposed to be the first time John and Linda will meet? What's going on? John, explain this. Well, she's. It was rare for John to be so flushed, which made me sure something was up. Then, with a creepy smile, Linda started to proudly talk about their relationship. John and I have been lovers even before I met David. But no matter how much I begged him to leave his wife and marry me, he just wouldn't. Isn't that right, John? No. I don't know what you're talking about at all. Don't be shy. So then I thought, if I can't marry John, I'll just marry his son, David. That way, we'd all be family, and we could still be together. I'm a genius. Linda, showing no remorse as she revealed her affair with my husband, kept smiling creepily. John looked at me, his face pale, desperately trying to deny it. No, Susan. Please believe me, I've never been with this woman. Before I could say anything, Linda quickly interrupted. What do you mean, never? We went on so many dates. We even went to a beach and a theme park. But ever since I got pregnant with David's child, you've been avoiding me like I'm sick or something. I never went anywhere with you. You're delusional. Oh, really? So all those business trips were just cover for your affair? That's why you didn't want to meet with Linda or her parents, isn't it? No. They were really business trips. Susan, don't you believe me? Do you think this crazy woman is telling the truth? True or not, I had only just learned about this whole situation. Sure, it would be dangerous to take everything Linda says at face value, but considering his cold attitude towards her parents, it doesn't seem entirely implausible. If what she's saying is true, it's just downright disgusting. It seems John pulled away after finding out Linda was pregnant, but she must have continued to pine for him. So scary. John, why don't you divorce this awful woman and be with me instead? I've always only thought about you. As she said this, she edged closer to John. Please, stay away. The only person that matters to me is Susan. I was too stunned to speak at my husband's conveniently timed declaration. I'm definitely thinking of divorce right now. And by the way, Susan, you've done a lot of unnecessary things. Huh? What are you talking about? You've been sending care packages to David, haven't you? I was intentionally taking all his money and not feeding him. You see, he looks like John, and I thought if he lost weight, he'd look even more like him. The thought that my son had been pushed to his limit for such an absurd reason made my hands tremble with anger. Even more shocking was that she had also restricted Emily's meals, wanting her to lose weight because she resembled David, or rather, John. That's why I was going to tell you to stop sending those packages. You crazy bitch. I was about to grab her, but then I saw a figure beyond the gate. The figure approached, and it was David. He looked a bit thinner than when I last saw him a few months ago, which momentarily confused me, but his voice confirmed it was indeed David. David. I heard you were taken by an ambulance, are you okay? I'm okay, now. I rushed out to show this to you and Dad. As David said this, he pulled an envelope from the bag he was carrying. I took it, and when I looked inside, I found a number of photos of John and Linda together on dates. What is this? I was speechless and sank to my knees. The blatant evidence was overwhelming, and I felt tears welling up. I wanted to believe in John, but it seemed impossible now. Mom, I'm sorry I kept this from you. But I wanted to believe in Dad, too. I realized Linda and Dad were having an affair when we started trying for a baby. When Linda got pregnant about 6 months later, I was happy, but then David pulled out another envelope. Honestly, I struggled with whether to confirm this. I took the envelope from him and checked its contents as well. It is a DNA test result for Emily. As she grew older, David had started to feel like she might not be his child, so he had secretly done the test without Linda knowing. When I saw the results, I couldn't believe my eyes. It said that Emily was not David's child, but John's. This meant that Emily wasn't my granddaughter but rather David's half-sister. John looked bewildered as he asked. What? What's going on? David, what is that? I've gathered evidence that you were having an affair with Linda. And it's not just that, Emily isn't my daughter, she's yours. I can't believe you would betray me like this. I'm utterly disgusted. What? While John was too shocked to say anything more, Linda seemed absolutely delighted. Really? Emily is John's child. She let out a joyful cry. She then rushed toward Emily, reaching out to hug her. This child is John's. Come on, let's go live with John. I quickly slapped her hand away and shielded Emily. Do you realize what you've done to this child? Not feeding her, you're a terrible mother. She's my child, I can treat her however I want. Children aren't objects. You need to take a good look at yourself. You're so annoying. Don't get in my way. I'm going to live happily with John and Emily. Linda grabbed a small flower pot nearby and raised it, ready to strike at me and Emily. I instinctively shielded Emily in my arms, and when I saw Linda swinging the pot down, I squeezed my eyes shut tightly. Stop it. It was David who threw himself between Linda and me, stopping her. Mom, call the police. Linda, stop this already. No. Let go of me. As they struggled, I called the police. I explained the situation, and soon a police car arrived from the nearby station. The scene was chaotic for a while, but the situation was eventually brought under control. The next day, Linda's father found out that she had been involved in a police incident. Linda's parents were shocked and asked David and me for confirmation. We told them everything was confirmed, including the affair between Linda and John and the DNA test results for Emily. As a result, John had to face Linda's father, who was also his boss. The moment they met, the boss was furious and grabbed John by the collar. Everyone was shocked by the unexpected outburst, but the boss finally calmed down after taking a deep breath. He couldn't just sit quietly after finding out someone had laid hands on his daughter, Linda. With a deep frown and veins bulging on his forehead, he fired John on the spot during the meeting. He also told Linda, "I have no need for a daughter who acts like you," and declared that he was cutting ties with her. John, feeling ostracized at work, was soon buried in handing over tasks and packing up his things. Within 2 weeks, he started using up his remaining vacation days. But when he came home, I handed him a divorce paper. There was no room for discussion with a man who had an affair with a married woman like Linda. John begged me through tears, but I looked at him with the disdain you'd have for a bug and said, "It's over. I'm done with you." David also handed Linda divorce papers, but she readily agreed to the separation. David decided to take custody of Emily, and after returning to the family home for a while, we moved together. We put the old house up for sale, and now it's vacant. Linda must have thought she could be with John now, but from what I heard, she kept chasing after him so persistently that she was eventually arrested. As for me, I started living with David and Emily in our new place. We play in a nearby park, enjoying nature together. David switched careers, becoming a freelancer and is now working from home. One day, around lunchtime, I got a message from David. "How about we go out for lunch today?" His income has increased a bit since he left the company, so we've been going out together more often. I call out to Emily, took her hand, and we walked home together. When I told her we're going out today, Emily gives me a big smile, showing her cute little teeth. That smile heals my heart, and both David and I are finding happiness in our lives now.